And just like every other time, we are back. My name's Charbel Milan. Today we have,
Samuel Couttolenc.
and this is a time shared. So, Sam, just to get you up to speed real quick, this is a time shared, the one and only podcast that's bringing light to people who are innovating. They're diving deep into topics that people don't want to talk about. And, we just try to bring light to subjects that, a lot of people aren't talking about. And I know that for the people who don't know, you've been tattooing for how many years?
I've been tattooing for 24 years, since 1996.
Jesus. So
Yeah.
since 1996, I got a great tattoo by you. And it wasn't just a tattoo because it had a story, because we were talking the whole time. And it almost felt like the conversation was meant to happen because we talked about a lot of things that, people don't normally talk about. And that's what led us to be here. So before we get
Yeah.
going, if you just want to give people introduction on who you are, what you do before we get going.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I came to the States from Mexico back in 2001. Then I went back to Mexico again, and I came 2005. And ever since I've been here, living in Georgia. And what I do is I'm a tattoo artist full time. And recently, since the last 3 years, I've been deep diving into spiritual um, realms, dimensions, and meditation, and doing a lot of research on that kind of stuff. Like the where our planet came, why we here, and the powers that human has. All this knowledge that it's been hidden from us, from all the humans, for the you can say the elites, the infiltrated humans that they're living in top places like like the governments, millionaires, and people like that, people that seem to be unreachable. But in reality, those are the ones that they hold all these knowledges. Like the Vatican, they have this hidden underground library where they have all this knowledge that they don't want people to know, because humans, we have a lot of power, you know mind power, pretty much. It's kind of like the universe is like a web. They call it the divine web. I follow this guy on YouTube. His name is Greg Braden. He's a scientist, but he turned his eye into the forces, the unknown forces of the universe, because he was noticing when he was, I guess, when he was young, he noticed that things that humans have, like the sixth sense, for example, and the aura, the energy that every human has. If you get pissed, you get mad, it gets red, change this color. Right now, science, they have these cameras where they can take a picture of you and they can see the color of your aura. It's like an electromagnetic field that every single human has. So if you're happy, your aura grows and it changes to light colors, like light blue, indigo, things like that. All those things. I like that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you mentioned something interesting. You said that the people at the highest fields, the elites, the people that are in charge, quote unquote, government,
Hmm.
do you think that they're acting for their own benefit or that they've been taken over by something spiritually? Like, what do you mean by they?
It's kind of like a long story, man, because I've been, I guess my curiosity has been leading me to discover things that I believe they exist, and a lot of people believe so too. But there is a lot of information out there that I've been looking to, and let's say I can be looking at certain scientists that he talks about the force that the thoughts cause on things. Or I've been looking at another guy that he says that his mind is being unlocked since he was 6. And he talks about how he's been in this world 6 times. And he talks about the things that he came to do. And right now, he is waking up people, talking about all these things. His name is Rodrigo Romo. You can find him on YouTube. The only thing is he speaks only Spanish and Portuguese, But I think some of his videos they have translation thing. I look into many things and using my common sense. I've been discovering so many things, like the thing that you asked me about the governments. Um, there is a guy that I follow on YouTube. He talks about a book that is called the Voynich Code. It's a book.
Voynich code?
The Voynich Code. It's about this big. If the people look into, I think it's a super popular show. It's called Ancient Aliens. They talk about the Voynich Code in one of his episodes. So pretty much it's a book, uh, but this big. Some of his pages are like foldable. You fold them in four, and it shows charts. They look like charts, drawings. You'll see letters that not human knows what kind of letters is, like what kind of scripture. It looks kind of like Arabic, but it's not. So nobody in the world hasn't been able to actually translate it. But this guy from Mexico, from a small town in Mexico, he is one of those. I saw his story. I follow him and since day one on YouTube. So I was very curious because when I saw Ancient Aliens talking about the Voynich Code, I found this guy on YouTube talking about the Voynich Code. I guess because you type Voynich Code, and I was looking into it, see what information was, and then I found this guy. So then this guy he tells that when he was a kid, he's one of those kids that he likes to talk about languages. He liked to learn every single language. It was one of his dreams. It's one of those things that you have kind of like you do this thing, and you have the vision. Somehow you feel attracted to this kind of feel of things. So he felt like that with not with languages. So he learns English when he was 10. Then he started learning German, Italian, uh, Swedish, you name it.
Jeez.
So now the guy knows every single language that is spoken in the world. And he claims that even some dead languages that people don't even know. So he knows all these languages. And he gives the name of a website where he actually went, and they have it's almost like the Rosetta Stone for free of every single language that you can think of. So just to check, I went and I found the website, and it really exists. So they have this list of all these languages that you can learn for free. So you go there, you type whatever you want to learn and whatever language, and it translates it. So he knows a lot of languages, right? And he finds the Voynich code. So when he sees the Voynich code in a library, just by accident, he's like, wait a minute. These letters look like a mix of Arabic. He said that they look like Arabic, Italian, Korean, and some other languages. A few words, his mind kind of clicked when he was exposed to these letters. So he sees it and he's like, I have to have this book. So he buys the book, takes it home, and his mind starts like spinning and spinning and translating. He said that the first 5 words took him about 3 days to translate because they are so elaborate and they have different angles. And somehow his mind was just like decoding word by word. So he comes and he deciphers 4 lines of the first page. And he discovers that this thing is the diary of a guy that was kidnapped by, you can call them bird people.
Bird people.
I've seen Corey Good. It's another guy that he was kidnapped when he was 5 by the secret space program people in the United States. He was kidnapped when he was 5. They took him into space and they were using the guy for 20 years for research things. He said that he was so sensitive to people that he was almost like a liar detector. So whenever aliens, because he was based in the moon, So they have them in the moon and in different planets too. So whenever he was doing an interview, let's say an alien, he said he was working with what he calls blue avians, and he shows the picture of 7 feet, 8 feet, almost kind of skinny, blue,
Blue.
a bird,
Bird.
like a little parrot you'll see, with the body of a human. But instead of fingers, it has like long fingers with the long nails, almost like a bird,
It's like a bird person.
like a bird person.
Jesus.
Blue. He calls them blue avians. So I had this information in my mind. So when I follow this guy on YouTube, the one that decodes the Voynich, uh, he talks about bird people. That the Voynich code talks about uh, this guy. His name is Oliver, the guy that supposedly brought the Voynich code, and he pretty much tells the story of how he was here on the planet Earth. I don't know. I guess doing his business, and all of a sudden, a spaceship comes, and he grabs him, and he grabs a bunch of his people from his village, and they take them to this planet where it was a lot of blue avians. He doesn't. He names them just bird people.
Bird people. But they were blue.
But I know that they are blue avians because Corey Good talks about them, and the way he describes them and the Voynich code, it makes me. I mean, using my common sense, I'm like, these are probably the blue avians. So, anyways, he was kidnapped with a bunch of people.
Wait, so it was two people describing the same thing differently?
Differently.
So you knew it had to
Yeah.
be the
So
same.
the Voynich code, it's 600 years old,
Jeez.
and Corey Good is alive right now, and he goes all over the country doing conferences talking about these things. How the government has relations with different races of extraterrestrials, and one of them are the blue avians. He talks about this. It's called Galactic Federation. The Galactic Federation is a union, pretty much. Imagine the United Nations, but of the space, where you have all these different planets, and every planet has its own representative. They get together, and they form this institution that is called the Galactic Federation. They are almost like the cops of the galaxy, kind of thing.
Holy shit.
They have the galaxy where our solar system is, but just like our solar system exists, we have different solar systems. I know one of them is Pleiades. They have their own sun and different planets. And Alpha Centauri is another constellation with planets. Those are the only ones I know, but I know that there exist millions of them. So this guy is kidnapped by them, Oliver, the one from the Voynich code, right? So they put him in, I guess, his language from 600 years ago. He didn't know modern terms. Like right now, you see a spaceship and you know it's a spaceship. But 600 years ago, you see something like that. How you call it? A flying serpent.
God, yeah.
Throwing fire
Yeah.
thing, kind of thing,
Dragon.
like a dragon flying,
Yeah.
And that's how everybody from different parts of the world, they refer themselves to things like that as a mythology, because ancient people will describe things the way they understood back then. Like in the Bible was written 2,000 years ago, and there's the book of Ezekiel. If you go to Ezekiel and you read his book, he pretty much is describing how he was kidnapped by aliens. It's in the Bible. But people believe that is God. Because he said, I mean, if you see a flying saucer right now, you go outside and you see the flying saucer, you'll be like, that's a flying saucer with lights around. So he describes a chariot of fire and light with 1,000 eyes around.
Oh, that makes sense.
And that's
had
what
chariots.
he says. There's the chariot
Oh,
of light with 1,000 eyes around, that they will look everywhere. And he said that was God inside, because when that thing came down, he said that the chariot released thunder of light, but it was the light beam, the force field light beam, and he said that it was capturing him and put him inside of the flying saucer. So it was being absorbed by the light beam, kind of like you see in the cartoons, the light and the cow going up into the flying saucer. So he describes all these things.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yeah.
You mentioned a really good point. Do you think that the government works with media to make ideas like this seem stupid? Oh, a flying saucer, a light beam?
Yeah, yeah,
Really? Are
yeah,
you crazy?
yeah.
But really,
Yeah.
do you think that?
I mean, and that's what they do. That's what they've been doing forever.
It's called they confirm your bias. Like if you're like, I think he killed him, and then they show you something about him killing the guy, you're like, wait.
There you go. Yeah, that's a really good point and a really good observation, because that's what it is. Let me tell you this:
Wait, yeah, sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
the blue Avians and the Voynich code, and one point of the story, he says that when they were coming to the world, a lot of times they fell in love of the beauty of the women of the earth, and these birds, they wanted to look like humans, to have sex with them. They couldn't have it because they didn't have penis. They didn't have the physiological capacities of doing it,
Right.
but they were like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. I need to. And maybe that's what the Bible refers to about the fallen angels making love with the
Oh, I see what you're
with the
saying.
women. I just
Okay.
realized this kind of stuff. It could be, I don't know, it could be something else. But
So anyway, you were talking about Ezekiel.
yeah, Ezekiel.
So they sucked him up.
And even if you go to the Bible, read the freaking book of Ezekiel, and he says, well, the Bible calls them the guy who walked with God.
The guy who walks with God.
He walked with God because he was abducted, take him into space, and they show him the galactic, or the what's it called?
Federation.
No, they show him the space.
Just the way it works.
Yeah, the Via Láctea. Via Láctea. Let's see, the Milky Way.
Oh, the Milky Way.
They show him the Milky Way. They show him and everything, because I was reading the story of Ezekiel in the Bible, and he said that he saw how the stars will come from the dark and will go to the dark and the other side. So they were like coming from one side and going to another side. Even the flat earth people, they name them because of the things that he said, that the stars come from one side and they go to another. So they believe that the planet is just like stationary. But remember that it was in a flying saucer, that the flying saucer doesn't move. It's just floating in space. So he saw everything moving around, but they were just there. So that doesn't mean the planet is flat. But anyways, this guy was there, and he tells in the Bible that he was there for even for 4 years, or 4 years at a time, and it, I don't know. I guess the guys who put the Bible together, they removed a bunch of stuff, but I guess they left something to make us believe that it was a God in reality, and in reality it wasn't. He even mentions the sizing of the of the flying saucer, and he mentions also the size of the airport, like the landing pad kind of thing. So even some scientists taking the information out of the Bible, they recreated the launching pad with all the measurements and stuff like that he mentions, and they built like a chair kind of looking thing with the round pad in the top. So they believe that it was the actual landing pad for the flying saucer. That it was built. I don't know. I mean, Ezekiel is from the Old Testament. It's older than 2,000 years.
So where do you think we came from? Like, where do you think human beings came from?
The humans.
Or actually, no. Where did the planet come from? Where do you think Earth came from? Because we talked about this one.
Yeah. There is information about this kind of stuff. I don't remember right now the name of this lady. I follow her on Facebook, but she's probably like on her late 60s. She's from Peru. I think her family went to Peru from Germany. So she was Germany born, but she lived her whole life in Peru. So she is one of those people that has been abducted ever since she was like 4 years old. She said that she was going to sleep, and she will have these crazy dreams about floating, transparent, kind of looking people. Have you ever seen that movie that is called the Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yeah, with the owls.
With the no, with the
Well, that's the fourth kind.
I think that's the third kind. It's a movie that it was made in the 80s by Steven Spielberg, where at the end of the movie, flying saucer comes, opens the door, and stairs come down, and you'll see this probably like 7, 8 feet tall, skinny, with a pointy
Collar.
collar, jacket, black jacket kind of looking thing, almost like the guy from Matrix. But it's open, and you could see through his body. So his body's kind of bluish. It's almost like one of those gray aliens, but without the black glasses. You can see his big eyes, almost like a human, but with big eyes, long arms, long fingers, long legs, and they float because they are ethereal.
What is that? What does that mean?
Ethereal is like a ghost.
Huh.
You have no physical body. So when you have no physical body, you're made out of ether. So you're ethereal. You're like, you don't have any. So your I guess the energy is made, let's say 70% of energy and of light, and 30% of ether. So you're ethereal. Like when people see ghosts passing by, you can see through them. So it was like that. So in the movie of Steven Spielberg, you can see one of those guys like that. So this guy is described by this lady of Peru. She names these people Pleiadians. The Pleiadians, they live in the constellation of Pleiades, and they belong to the Galactic Federation. So millions of years ago, many millions of years ago, like I don't know, like crazy time ago, it was this planet that was called Satyan. Satyan was
Wait,
a
you think you can pull the mic a little bit towards you? Yeah, this is the best
yeah
part. Yes.
Satyan.
Perfect.
Satyan existed, and Satyan was this planet where the Federation noticed that Satyan was contaminated with negative energy. Every single planet in the universe has 50 and 50. 50% of positive and 50% of negative energy. Everything is like a battery, and it has to have its own balance, right? So Satyan was having a negative charge, like it was like out of whack. So they noticed, and they sent this scientist to see what was going on with Satyan. The name of the scientist was Luzbel. So they sent a Pleiadian named Luzbel to see what was going on. So this guy goes into Satyan, and it was a lot of people there, like humans. But these humans were Pleiadians, like the ethereal people, but living inside of physical bodies. So Satyan, it was a third dimensional planet. A third dimension is where everything is physical. You can touch, things like this. Your body is a physical thing. So pretty much they say that all the humans that exist in the universe, we don't have physical body. We are ethereal. And Satyan, it was one of those planets where Pleiadians humans will go to live the three-dimensional life, the physical life, just to experience it. So let's say you are a Pleiadian.
Holy shit.
And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I need to go to Satyan to live the physical experience, the three-dimensional experience, because they came from the sixth dimension where you don't need body. You're ethereal. You can take whatever shape, whatever form you want. So they were like, okay, you go there. So the reason of the Pleiadians to go to the third dimensional world is to experience, to have different life situations. to learn how to sing per se, for example, how to drive, how does it feel to love, how does it feel to touch someone, to kiss someone, to kill someone, to grab someone from the hair, to punch someone. Everything that you can think of is an experience that the soul has to be nourished by all these experiences. So this planet is like a school, like a college for all the Pleiadians to go and learn the physical experience. It's kind of like some people refer to humans that we are souls living the physical experience.
Makes sense.
So that Satyan, it was one of those planets. And imagine the universe being the body of a human. And all of a sudden, this human was bitten by a mosquito and he gets an infection. And your immune system sends blood with whatever things like white cells to cure it. And they go and they cure it. It takes some time, but they're going to cure it. So the Federation noticed that Satyan, it was an infection in the body of the universe. So they have to cure it. Because if they didn't cure it, it'll contaminate the rest of the universe. And it'll advance, and it'll keep going, and it'll destroy the whole universe at some point. So they sent this scientist, Luzbel, to see what could have been done to fix it. So he goes and he said, we have this excess of negative energy in Satyan. It's a negative ion charge that is attacking with this virus the pineal gland of the bodies of the Pleiadian humans. And when attacks the pineal gland, imagine, is in the center of every human brain. It's in the center. It's a pineal gland that, imagine that it's almost like a pyramid made out of mirror, like really, really polished and really bright. And this pineal gland is the responsible of receiving the telepathy. So you're communicating with your house and your own planet when you're in the college of Satyan, learning the physical body, the physical experience.
Oh, okay.
So in this distortion of the planet, it will calcify the pineal gland, making you...
it's not shiny anymore.
It's not shiny anymore. So it calcifies. And so it breaks the connection from your physical body and your ethereal body. So you don't know who you are anymore.
Holy shit.
So you're lost in your own memory. You can't communicate with your house or with other planets and with other dimensions anymore because the distortion of the planet broke your body. So everybody thought that they were there and as us, like us, as humans. They didn't believe in you came from another dimension just to experience this physical life. So everybody in Satyan was contaminated to the point that they turned crazy. So Luzbel noticed that the pineal gland was attacked by this virus, and he calls the virus ambition. And he called it ambition because the color of the tiny crystals that they were forming in the pineal gland and crystallizing it, they were amber. So he calls the virus ambition because it will turn amber.
Okay.
So that's where the term of ambition comes from the pineal gland being contaminated by the distortion of the planet.
So do you think that's what Earth is, or what happened to Satyan?
Satyan, it was contaminated so much and so crazy to the point that the Federation were like, you know what, Luzbel, we cannot let you come back because you are contaminated. We're gonna put a force field around Satyan, and we're gonna wait, and we're gonna think about what we're gonna do to fix it. So the Federation decided to left Satyan, to left Luzbel behind. Luzbel at some point, he was trying to help, but Luzbel was like a super advanced, full of love Pleiadian. They don't have sex. I mean, it's like the top of the
She
evolution.
was like a prophet, kind
Like
of
not like a prophet, but it was like a scientist,
higher dimensional
like a
being,
higher dimensional being, like a being of
higher
light.
intelligence.
Think about them like angels.
Okay.
Angels having a physical experience.
Okay.
You know, like because they said that a soul has to live at least 170,000 millions of years to reach the point to be able to be inside of a physical body. So imagine how old we are.
So we're lucky.
So we are super old that we don't even know. But we don't know because our pineal gland is being contaminated and we lost the connection with our true selves. But before taking control of these human bodies, we already knew what was going on in here. And even so, like that, we decided to come. But I'm going to explain you why we're here. But you have to know all these things first, because if I tell you things in the middle, you won't be able to.
Yeah, you take your time.
So, Satyan it was encapsulated pretty much in force field by the Galactic Federation. So they decided, you know what, we're going to leave Satyan pretty much keep the contamination inside. And we know that with the time, Satyan is going to grow old, and the overcharge of negative ions is going to make Satyan to explode. And once Satyan is exploding, we're going to follow the pieces and enclose them too in the force field. So once Satyan got super, super old, it's almost like NASA when they say that a star is really old, explodes. So the Federation let the Satyan get old, get super contaminated with negative ions, and exploded. So exploded, and they were following the pieces that expand all over the universe. So they say that they were seven pieces of 7 parts of Satyan. So they took every single piece of them and put them on an individual force field. So the planet Earth is one of those pieces.
One of the 7.
One of the 7 pieces.
Holy shit.
So, and then it was a crazy thing that was happening on the on Satyan. So when they encapsulated it, they left Luzbel behind, and then Luzbel told the Federation, you know what, I'm going to talk with the governments of Satyan and see if they can help me with this. I'm going to tell them what's going on and if we can do something about it. So he goes and he talks with them, and a lot of the governments, they were trying to help, but because they were distorted, their minds were attacked, and they turned into violent people, into corrupt, into slaves of the sensations, like alcohol, sex, drinking, smoking, pretty much everything that you can see in this planet happen in Satyan. But they say that when the physical body dies, the Pleiadian comes out of you, or the soul, and it has to go back to his house or to the dimension where he lives or whatever. But they couldn't do that because when the body was contaminated in Satyan, it was also imprinted. All this information was imprinted into the souls. So that's why they weren't allowed to any soul to come out of Satyan. So the body was dying. Let's say your body dies, your soul comes out of it, and because of the force field that was surrounding Satyan, you wouldn't be able to come out of Satyan. So you will have to come back and reincarnate in another human and stay here until the planet was free of the virus. So you were forced to be here, almost like a prison planet.
Fuck.
Kind of thing. So it's the same thing right now. But I get to that. So Satyan, it was like that, and then Luzbel, it was like, oh my gosh, I've been talking with these guys of the government and everything, but they don't know what to do, and they are just ignoring me. So he goes and he, in his mind, and he's because he was so eager to help, he comes up with this plan, and he's like, you know what, the cure for us to get rid of all the negative energy it's to absorb all the negative energy through knowledge and transform it into a positive knowledge. That is good like that.
Yeah, you can move it however you want.
Okay, no, that's cool.
Yeah, you can just move it as you move.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was just trying to making sure if this thing is actually reading my voice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just want to stay as close to it as you can.
Okay.
Perfect.
So Luzbel has this crazy idea. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna create a god. Like he's an old guy, and because he has power, he knows how to create. He knows how to read minds and put things, and he knows telepathy. So he's able to find some influential people from Satyan and show them a god-like figure that would tell them, "Hey, I am God. I am the creator of the universe, and I have a hell. And if you don't behave good, you're gonna go to hell." So that's when he invented religion. He invented the idea that if you don't behave good, God will destroy you. But he did that in order for all the people from Satyen to to think positive things instead of negative. Because of the distortion, they were just generating negative thoughts all the time. So every single thought that you generate, and if it's negative, it generates more negative energy. So the planet was getting, instead of getting clean, it was getting worse because all the humans there, they were releasing negative energy
Because their penile
through,
gland was calcified.
and they let's say every time you think something, it's some kind of energy. So if you're thinking about killing someone, it's a negative energy that your body is releasing. It's like the aura.
Makes
The
sense.
aura we have when you get afraid, or when you are stimulated into stress, your aura turns red. It turns into a lower vibrational energy. So that was the energy that was going on in Satyan. So everybody was feeling like that. So instead of absorbing that energy, they were releasing more and more and more. So it was getting worse and worse and worse. So the solution, it was to create a human with a special brain that it was capable of absorbing the negative and transmuting into positive. So that's when the Federation came up with the idea of giving them, separating their brain, the left from the right. And so they modify their DNA by telepathy of all the people in Satyen. So the brain, it wasn't the both hemispheres of the brain, they weren't together anymore. They took the brain, the right side of the brain, the connection, they broke the connection. And so the right side of the brain, it was only connected by telepathy of every single human in Satyen. So they did that because once the brain was separated, the left side of the brain is the logical side, is the one that sees everything, and it doesn't feel any feelings like love, like like affection things. It's only logical. It's the one that grabs a gun, kills something, and he doesn't feel anything. It's the one that he punches you in the face.
Psychopath.
Not psychopath, but the logical,
No
almost like
emotion.
no emotion,
Like a robot.
just like a computer.
Yeah, okay.
If you tell the computer to print something, computer will print it, and computer doesn't care if it's pink or it's black. You know, computer just does that. But the right side of the brain, this one, is the one that feels emotions. Is the one that if he sees somebody needing help, goes and helps. And also is the one that gets falls in love, the one that sings, that learns how to write, how to read, how to play, the one that memorizes all the nice things. So, for example, you have a bicycle when you're a kid, and you see all the kids riding the bicycle, and you're like, oh my gosh, these kids are awesome. They are like riding their bicycles, and they do the drifting on the bicycles, and they go into the downhills, and they are enjoying the bicycles. And you're like, oh, I'm just a human, just like them. I'm gonna ride my bicycle. So you ride the bicycle, but you don't have any practice. So you fell and you break your arm, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just broke my arm. And then right there, you develop a negative energy in your brain because of the bicycle. So you grow old and you see a bicycle, and all you see is the negative energy that you created when you were a kid. So you absorb all this information when you're a kid. Then you forget about it. All of a sudden, you're 40 and you see a bicycle, and it makes your arm hurt because you have this subconscious memory inside of you that it was created when you were a kid. That's the negative energy. But then all of a sudden, somebody comes, somebody that you trust and you love, and he teaches you how to ride bicycle, how to enjoy it, how to make a positive experience out of the bicycle. And then you're riding the bicycle and you're good. You're like smiling, really happy because now you can feel the emotion of being on the bicycle. So then from negative energy that was absorbed by your left side of the brain, you learn how to use it and you transform that experience into a positive experience. So now you're riding the bicycle and your arm doesn't hurt anymore. That's how every single life situation happens. When something happens to you, your left side of the brain absorbs it as something negative. Let's say your mom comes and screams at you because you were outside playing in the mud and you know you stain your new pants. She punches you in the face. She slaps you in the face, and you're like, you take it so personally because it's the person that you love, and you can understand why she hates you. She hits you. Your brain, your left side of the brain, immediately is like, she hit me because she hit me because she hates me, and you grab that as a negative energy. So your brain is releasing a lower vibrational energy because the situation that she created by hitting you is creating in your mind something that you couldn't explain, something that you see as something that shouldn't be possible. But if you think about it, she hits you because she probably works too hard on washing the clothes every time. And she tells you all the time that you can't go outside and play in the mud because you get dirty and she would have to wash it again. You don't see those things. And but if you understand those things, you'll understand why she hit you. And then you wouldn't be absorbing that energy as a negative. So every single thing that happens in your life pretty much is a life learning situation. It's just that because of the distortion that we're living in, we're so defensive all the time. We're not able to see the learning out of everything. We're not able to see the knowledge that we can have out of every single thing. You know, let's say somebody comes and breaks your heart, your girlfriend that you love so much, she cheats on you. You're devastated, you're brokenhearted, and you just only thinking about the moment that you saw her with the other guy kissing or doing things like that, and you're just thinking about killing him, killing her, and you're just thinking negative things all the time. But you're not thinking about the nice moments that you spent with her in the past, the kisses that she gave you, the hugs that she gave you, the experiences that she gave you. Why we only see the negative? Because we live in the world with this distortion that we inherit from Satyan. That's the original sin that the Bible talks about. We inherit the original sin from Satan, which in reality is Satyan. But the story has been told through many, many years and many generations that they changed the name a little bit.
Satyan.
But Satan,
Makes sense.
in reality, is not a character like the Bible said. It's the energy that Satyan had. And when it broke, the seven pieces inherit the original sin.
Holy shit.
That's the very, very detailed story that the Bible should have. But the Bible just has tiny pieces of stories. Every single book in the Bible has just tiny pieces. But in reality, they have the missing. And I know all of the missing parts of these stories from the Bible. So that's the information that the Vatican has been holding from people.
So the information the Vatican's been holding is the fill in to the Bible? What's some more things we're talking about?
They have the book of where they explain Jesus' life, but the Bible only explains when he was born
And then
and
33.
when he was 33, the last year of his life. But there is another book that is called the Book of the 99, that it was written by Jesus itself, that tells his pretty much his diary. He tells everything, how his childhood was. He talks about his twin brother. He had a twin brother, and he wasn't crucified. He never died on the cross.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he wasn't his father. He wasn't a woodworker. They said his dad was a carpenter, but in reality, Jesus came from a really wealthy family. His family, it was very much kind of like the Donald Trump of his dad of his times. And they said that the people took him to Poncio Pilatus. Poncio Pilatus was his cousin, and everything was just a gimmick to make people think that he was crucified. Because Jesus, in reality, the Bible talks about when Jesus was lost in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. In reality, he was taken by Pleiadians outside the planet, and all his DNA was unlocked and his mind was unblocked. And it was giving him the whole enchilada, the whole information of all the things that I was telling you about.
And then that's when he came back. And
That's
started
when
doing
he came
miracles.
back, and he was like another guy, full of powers. We can heal. Every single human has the power of healing. But check it out. The mind works like this. If you were born in China, believing that you're a Chinese, the only Chinese in China that has the round eyes and the white skin, you'll believe that because your parents were Chinese. But what if they came to America and kidnapped you? So you'll be growing up with a different religion, different belief system, and different family, just because they told you to. So your mind was being programmed to believe that. So we have the power of healing ourselves. But ever since we were born, the government and everyone has been telling us that we're not able to do it, and that you need to go to the doctor to heal yourself. But in reality, everything is in the mind. Because whenever they do a big pharmaceutical company, they release a new drug for headaches. They do the double-blind placebo against the medicine. They find 20 people, and 10 people are given the drug, and 10 people are given a sugar pill. But they don't tell them. They tell them this is the thing that's going to cure you. So they have annotations of the reactions of the people that they have the medicine and the placebo. So 95% of the times, the people that took the placebo, they get better than the other ones. So it's 95% of the times, the sugar pill cures more than the actual drug.
Holy
Why?
shit.
Because they are being told that this pill is going to cure you. But it's not the pill, it's the belief. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the belief that you're believing that the freaking pill is going to cure you. It's you're activating your own healing system. The body is capable of healing whatever. And we have the power, but we don't believe it.
Because we're taught not to
We're
believe
taught
it.
not to believe. That's why I was referring to these things as one of the powers that human has. All these powers, we are so powerful. How you think that when your skin gets cut, it heals by itself? Because it's imprinted in your subconscious, and you believe that if you cut yourself, your skin is going to heal by itself. But if you go to another country and they tell you that be careful because if you cut yourself, you're not going to heal. Guess what's going to happen?
You're
Never going to heal because they are putting that into your mind.
Jesus. Holy.
You know?
Okay. So going back to the Vatican, right? So they're holding this information. Is that why they're so powerful and they're all old as shit? Because they know this?
They know every single thing. And also, this is just some of the information. All the information is almost like a puzzle. You have this information from Satyan, but also you have to have the information of the abilities that humans have. We have this sixth sense. I saw this guy on a YouTube channel that he talks about all this kind of stuff that humans are capable of doing. His name is Bruce Lipton. So you can go and
Bruce Lipton.
Bruce Lipton. He finds 20 people. This is just an example, but I'm going to explain it in my own way.
Yeah.
He finds 20 people and he puts them inside of a room, one by one. And he's monitoring his brain activity and his heart
Right.
and his breathing.
Okay.
He has the three screens: brain, heart, and breathing. So, and he's showing every single one of those people pictures of nice things, like a dog outside playing in the grass, kids in a party, a couple kissing, nice things, and all the heart activity and the breathing and everything is like nice and normal. And then all of a sudden, a random, they don't know when, but a random picture of someone being killed. Dogs fighting, some negative
violence.
violence,
Extreme violence.
negative pictures,
And it's random.
negative. It's like random. They don't even know when
Okay.
they're gonna throw it.
Mixed in with the good ones.
So at the end, they look into the graphics, and they found that the heart, almost 2 seconds before the negative picture is gonna show, the heart rate goes up. So that means our heart is the one that is is pretty much the responsible for the sixth sense. Is foreseeing things way before happening.
Intuition.
That's the heart. The heart is the one, and when they discovered that, they were doing all kinds of tests with our heart. So our heart is the one that actually is releasing the radio waves or the magnetism of our body. So it's not the mind, because they used to think that the mind was the one that was releasing the radio waves on every thought. It is like that, but the bigger one is the heart. So the heart is the one that is connected. It's like a radar. So you can see you're driving. All of a sudden, something is telling you to turn or to stop. And then a car passes in front of you just like fraction of a second.
Happens all the time.
It's the heart.
That happened to me today.
It's the heart.
Damn.
Or you are with a girl that you like, and you kind of feel like she wants to kiss, and you kiss her, and she kisses you back. It was the heart. It's not the brain. It's because we're connected. We're radios. You're all of a sudden thinking about something. This friend that you haven't seen in years, all of a sudden comes to your mind. A couple of days later, he calls you. Hey, what's going on, man? I was thinking about you.
All the time.
It's this power that we have. We release that. Every single thing that we think, it's a radio frequency. The universe itself is full of frequencies. We have frequencies like crazy. The universe is like a big heart, and every single living thing in the universe is connected to that. Imagine like a spider web or a web, where every single living thing is in the web. I'm sitting in the string of one of the webs, and the web is connecting me with everyone. So every time I think something, it resonates all over the universe. That's why people that they are poor or broke, they remain themselves like that. Because all they know is poor, is lack, and is being broke.
Law of attraction.
They are not manifesting, but they are into those frequencies. And so the universe is so loving that the universe is going to give you whatever you are releasing as a frequency in the universe. So when you are sure that every single day in your life is covered by your angel, guardian angel, or whatever it is, or God, or the creator, or the main mind, or the main conscious,
Universe. Whatever it is.
My dog was on the couch. You're
Look
so
at him.
crazy, Chico.
He's so cute. He's a cutie.
That is
I
some
love
crazy.
dogs like that, with the ones that are just chill.
That is some chill dog, right? Yeah, I'm a Mexican dog. I like tacos.
So what do you think is our purpose here?
Oh, our purpose here. Check it out. After Satyan.
Yeah, just
So
on Earth. Like you know how you said we're stuck in a force field,
yeah,
and you listed all the facts and the reasons why. So what's the goal now? Are we still trying to
uh, we're
restore the energy,
we're
the
yeah
balance?
we're trying to restore the balance on the planet and every single planet. This is kind of like we are the superheroes of the universe because we're in this planet cleaning it, doing our part. Normally, I mean, like normally, we're Pleiadians. We don't have physical body. These bodies are the meat suits per se. It's almost like when you go scuba diving, you're gonna need a scuba diving suit, and then you're gonna be able to breathe and stuff like that under the water. So let's say you're a Pleiadian, ethereal body. You're going to Earth. Oh, cool. Give me my body suit. And they give you one of these, and they send you over here.
And you start fresh.
Uh-huh.
You don't know what the hell's going on.
Every single time that we reincarnate, we don't remember the previous life because every time we get exposed to the distortion of the planet that calcifies the pineal gland. And the only way to clean it is by eating vegetables, fruits, magnesium, and zinc, and all the green stuff. The bodies of humans, they were made in a laboratory by Pleiadians 600 million, I think it's, yeah, 600 years ago, 600 million years ago, something like that. Something 600. I read it in the book.
So when they made it, what was the specific design? Well, why are we so? You could almost say we're kind of balanced ourselves for the
We're
most part.
mixed. We're mixed with different aliens. We're a mix of different ones because there is the ones that people call the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, the word itself means the ones that came from heaven or the false gods. So 12,000 years ago, by Mesopotamia, the Syrian civilization, they were having encounters with reptilians and blue avians. You can see them in their carvings. They have humans with wings, and they have the carvings of a blue avian wearing robes, wristwatches,
Like the Egyptian,
like
like
the
hieroglyphics.
yeah. Also the Egyptians.
What do you think was going on there?
Yeah, the same.
Do you think that they were in
They
tune?
were invaded by the blue avians as well, and the reptilians. And there's another ones that I like to call them the Thundercats. It's almost. Do you remember the cartoon Thundercats?
I think so.
There's an alien race that is just like them, like these freaking 7, 8 feet cats.
So you think reptiles are also one of the few out that are out there? Because
Uh,
you hear a lot of people like David Icke.
talking about the reptilians. The reptilians came from Satyan.
Oh, so the reptilians came from. They were like
I'm,
species,
I'm
or
gonna tell you, the human body, the Federation closed, and capsule in a force field Satyan because the energy couldn't be.
it would ruin the rest.
They weren't allowed the negative energy or the souls going out because they were contaminated with the negative ions of Satyan. So the atmosphere, it was being contaminated every single second by the thoughts of the people that they were there. By the Pleiadians that they were living there. They lost contact with themselves. They got lost because the pineal glands were lost. So they didn't know who they were, why they were there. So they were just like doing bad things, thinking bad things, and they just releasing negative energy into the environment. So the atmosphere turned into a really dense atmosphere because of the increase of the negative energy. So when you have a lot of density in an atmosphere, the human body was evolving into something else. Evolved into 6, 7, 8 foot tall people, really muscle with a big big frames, bigger skeletons, a thicker skin because of the environment. It's almost like the Chinese people that they, I don't know if you've seen them, they can swim and they hold the air 7-10 minutes under the water because they are people that they do that all the time.
They adapted.
They are adapting to the environment, because they do stuff like that all the time, all the time, all the time. And then a new breed of humans were born. They even have the double eyelid now, the freaking kids. They have the clear one so they can open the eyes under the water and they see clear.
Holy shit.
So you see how the body adapts to the conditions. So in Satyan, the condition was getting really dense. So the body, of course, this thing didn't happen in a few years. It happened in thousands of years, periods. Over time, the humans were losing the right side of the brain because they weren't using it that much.
The logic.
The love.
Oh, the love.
And they were keeping just the left. So it was so much distortion that the left side is the one that remained, and they reached the point where the right one disappeared totally. So they turned into killing, no feelings machines. Like I was telling you, if you're exposed to this distortion and to this density and an atmosphere of a planet like that, a new breed of humans will born. So they were exposed to that kind of stuff, and of course the atmosphere turned hotter and hotter. So their blood had to be cold. So they turned into big, with cold blood.
So reptiles,
Pretty much. The skin turned into a greenish, thicker, and they have the tail that they developed tails for the balance because they needed to walk with bigger bodies, bigger
and
muscles.
they don't feel emotion.
No, they don't feel emotion.
So do you think they infiltrated?
These guys are so logical and they have so much knowledge because they don't have the feeling part of it. And so these reptilians came out of the distortion from Satyan. The humans that they were there, they evolved into reptilians because Satyan was being contaminated so much that they adapted to the conditions of Satyan and they turned into reptilians with millions of years of evolution.
So how did they get to Earth?
When Satyan exploded, millions of these souls and also bodies of the reptilians escaped when Satyan exploded. I mean, not everybody died. A lot of them, they knew about the distortion, and they had Luzbel and Lucifer was one of them, some of them. So they were saying that they escaped and they were into another planets, and they, they grew, what is the word when they mate, they reproduce. They reproduce more. Okay. in different planets. So this thing is like a long story. It happened in like many millions of years, but it all comes to this, the things that we're living now. And the Federation has been always taking an eye on them. Rodrigo Romo from Brazil is the one that has been here for 6 lifetimes, and he knows everything about them. So certain people are allowed to come to the Earth by the Federation because they unblock their memories, their DNA, and things like that. There's another guy in Mexico that is also from 6th dimension, but he decided to come to the 3rd dimension. And they asked him why. And he's like, because we're so loving. We love so much that we need to fix these things. And also because going to Earth is almost like going to college for an extra degree, because their souls need to learn. I guess they feel the necessity of learning more and more and more.
Didn't you tell me one of the guys, he proved himself because he said there was like some underground place in Egypt with like some books?
Oh, that's the one, Rodrigo Romo.
And he said what was on the certain page.
Yeah,
they went out there.
He was talking in Spain with some people, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been here 6 times, and my previous life was a monk in Egypt, and we have this library in the middle of the desert where I can take you, and we have these books there." And they were like, Okay, let's do the trip. So they planned the trip, and it took them walking in the middle of the desert. A lot of them, they were really scared because it was just in the middle of the desert. They didn't know the guy that well. I mean, they knew him from the interviews and all the stuff and other things, the conferences that he does around the world, but they were following him into the desert. Can you imagine? I mean, you're like a journalist
In the
and you're
middle of the
following
desert.
this guy for hours and hours and hours. And they said that they walked almost 10 hours in the middle of the desert. And he was like, yes, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. And because a lot of stuff happened in the world. So they were at some point thinking, maybe this guy's a crazy guy and he's going to kill us in the middle of the desert. And then all of a sudden, he hits with his foot and certain part of the sand, and somebody opens like a door,
What the
and
fuck?
and the
Somebody,
and
someone opened it?
someone opened it. There is people living inside. They went down, and it was almost like a
Civilization?
like a no like a
Like ants?
huge like a freaking
Mansion?
a bolt, almost like a church,
Oh,
almost like the one in French, the one that burned.
oh, the
The
fuck.
Notre Dame,
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
how they are inside? They're like that. It was this big temple with a bunch of golden decorations, and it was huge. It was almost like an underground temple. And they go back in it, and they go and they open this little door, and they have all these books, like ancient books. And it's the sixth book to the right, and page whatever, it says this, and this. And they go and they grab the book, and yeah,
So
that
why
was
is no
that
one
was
talking about
that was
this?
true. It's because this guy is Hispanic.
So
It
did they
was
try to push this down? Like, this guy's crazy.
actually all these videos that I was telling you about. They were recently deleted from YouTube like 3 weeks ago.
Holy shit, they took him down?
And it was a channel from Spain that it was dedicated to show all these things. It was people there teaching people how to meditate, how to cure yourself, how to communicate, use your mediumnity, like how to turn into mediums, and people that they were talking about spiritual awakenings, like a lot of stuff, like people that they were talking about the powers of eating
Vegetarian?
vegetarian. That our bodies were created herbivores. We're not
Oh,
meat
so we're
eaters.
meant to eat plants.
We're not. Yeah, our body is like that. If you eat
So they deleted
meat,
the channel?
yeah, they deleted the whole channel. The channel was going on for many years. I don't know
Oh my
exactly how many
god.
years, but it was called Mindalia.
Mandalia?
Yeah,
So okay. So holy
like
shit.
Mindalia, kind of like mandala, but
So
it
what
was
do you
about the
think's
mind.
going on there? Like, why do you think shit like that gets deleted? Is it because the reptilian people?
The reptilians, they say Rodrigo Romo. He said that the reptilians, they have a technology, that they have the planet Earth, and they have the limbo, the space. They have like wormholes, like black holes, where you go inside and you appear in a different part of the universe, part of the galaxy or whatever. So they say that in between those portals of time, they have the technology to go inside of them, and so they have the technology of creating a ethereal copy of the planet Earth. So they have a copy of the planet Earth and every single thing that lives also. So kind of like they take a picture of us, and they take all the like a negative picture, wham, and they appear it in the middle of this dimension. So they can walk in this ethereal Earth and pretty much being right here, and we cannot see them because they have an interdimensional copy of everything in the planet and the planet itself.
Fuck.
So they are
That's the
owners.
Mandela effect. Have you
They
heard about that?
own the planet pretty much. And the thing is, because they were created in Satyan, in the middle of all this low vibrational energy, they need that energy to live. And guess who produces this negative energy, this low vibrational energy?
Who?
Humans.
So they need us. So that's why the world's so fucked right now.
Yeah, this world is being manipulated by them since forever. That's why it was a bunch of wars, a bunch of fights, divisions. Right now, they are doing the psychological virus thing, all the
Protests,
protestings all over the world, and they create the monetary system, the school systems,
music, media.
media, music. I guess is one of them too, because they can use frequencies of music to create a lower vibrational frequencies, so humans feel like on fear. So let me explain you like this. Also, it's kind of like when humans go to the bottom of the ocean in a submarine. They have machines that they absorb out of the air oxygen, and they release the oxygen in the chamber of the submarine,
Yeah.
so we can live.
Yeah.
Reptilians have the same kind of machine, but instead of oxygen, they absorb the low vibrational energy that humans release, and they inject or infuse that energy into their underground cities so they can live. That's why they can't come into the surface, because all the humans, we have this higher vibrational energy that when they are close to a human, they feel uncomfortable. They cannot be around. That's why people don't see them. And if they see them, they see them for a little bit. They say that they can only resist about 10 to 15 minutes on the surface of the planet. That's why they have to go
So they live underground.
they live underground.
So why does the Galactic Federation allow this? Why do they allow these reptiles to just?
There is almost like areas. Like, let's say Gwinnett County, they have their cops on different cities, like Duluth, Norcross, Lawrenceville. They have their own areas, and then you see the map and you see the limits. They have the same shit going on in the planet and the galaxy. The galaxy is divided by quadrants or areas, territories, and this fight against the Federation is pretty much kind of like the government, the one that rules everything and it keeps everything in peace. And they have rebels that they don't want to be in the system of the Federation. These are the reptilians and some other alien races, but mainly reptilians. So the reptilians and the Federation are fighting constantly. The ones I was telling you earlier, the Thundercats, they are like a warrior race. Those are the ones that they are fighting the most against the reptilians. And the planet Earth, our solar system, is kind of like at the end of one of those territories where sometimes battles are fight and the Federation wins and we have peace because they don't allow things like that to happen. There's times of peace in the planet. But then all of a sudden, they're like attack again and the Federation is pushed back. And that's when bad things are happening again. So I feel like the reptilians push the Federation back, and that's why we're feeling all this negative energy again.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that, like, for example, they had to come in here, right? So the reptilians, they come, and they're like, okay, the only way we can get it, we have to manipulate everyone subconsciously.
It's not subconsciously.
Control the powers?
They have they have crazy technologies, so they are able to make human bodies, but these human bodies are born into a lower vibrational energy. So these bodies are created in an environment that is really, really low in vibration. So a human body was born like that, and they are capable of taking one of those souls, or not a souls, because they cannot abandon their bodies, their reptilian bodies, but they have the machine that is, it's almost like the Xavier, the X-Men guy, the professor, how he has this helmet that he can get into someone's head and manipulate them. A reptilian can do that, but he needs a body that vibrates in the vibrational frequency that they do in order to live. So I believe that they build these bodies and they control them. And they said that the Queen of England is one of them, and all the people that has all the the rich people in the world, the major people that has a lot of power, those are bodies that they were created by reptilians, and they are manipulated by reptilians to do all the things that we're suffering, like wars. They own all the media
The
channels
banks,
and the banks, the schools, the governments, because the schools
the
are
institutions.
institutions. So you can push the humans and the kids into stress because they are stressed by the fucking education that they said they received. It's not an education. It's just like they are uh, pushed into being stressed all the time.
Yeah, I
So
can
we
agree.
release the lower vibrational energy that they need.
And then they set us up for like a shitty job, debt,
Dead
all these
end
things.
jobs. You are growing up believing that you have to go to college and you're stressed out all your life pretty much. They place a spectacular saying that cancer. They implant those things in your mind. You develop cancer just by looking at the fucking sign all the time. It's like if I tell you you're amazing, you can see really good without glasses, and if you keep repeating that, repeating, all of a sudden your eyes are gonna be nice, you know. But even those things, I believe that this is an invention of these motherfuckers because they say
Right.
that you have to have glasses in order to see well, and that's just the idea that they are selling us, and we believe that we need glasses to see better.
So what do you think a person can do? Like, let's say we have this information now, and we just choose to accept it. Well, we do our own.
It's like a muscle, you know. It's like when you go to the gym and you want to get bigger biceps, bigger arms, bigger legs. You work that area, you know. It's like we are able to communicate with the dead, but also because the religions are implemented since forever, we don't believe those things. But in reality, we can communicate with the people that pass. It's not that that pass; it's just that they are there, and we are here. They are ethereal, just like us. But right now, we're in this human body, and we are here absorbing all the negative energy with our brain, uh, absorbing it, assimilating it, learning from it, and then transforming it into positive.
So we're like placed on this earth to be a filter to heal the universe,
That's our mission.
to heal the
That's
imbalance.
yeah. So
Holy
you
shit.
see, it was
Okay.
a long answer to your question. Like you were saying, why we're here, what's the purpose of humans here? So that's the thing. But you have to know all these things in order to know the answer.
That's crazy, man. So
Yeah.
how can meditation help a person?
The meditation can help a person to heal. We're in this distortion, right? Every single day, every single moment, and this distortion. And if you don't know how to recognize it, it'll eat you. That's why people have anxieties and depressions and phobias and all this kind of stuff, because life after life after life, they don't know it. They don't know why they are here, and they are just storing everything that they go through life as a negative information. That's why there's a lot of diseases, because our physical body is connected to the emotional force that we generate. Let's say you have an emotion that you need to say something to somebody, but you don't want to say it because you are afraid that you'll hurt. Let's say your girlfriend. You don't want to tell her that you don't love her anymore. You keep the secret for a long time, and your physical body is going to react where your voice comes from. You might end up with a nut, or like a neck pain, or like a cancer in your thyroid, or throat cancer, or something like that.
Because you're
It's
storing.
because that energy is stored by the emotion. When you store fears, how does your stomach feel?
It feels like
Like
tense.
cramp, like
Yeah.
tense. It's like the time I met you, you were saying that you had a headaches.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still have them.
No, I went home and
It's
meditated.
because I told you your headaches come from thinking a lot of the emotional. It's like an emotional worries.
Yeah.
And once you realize what was the cause, it goes away.
That-
I was having a year and a half IBS. You know, it's like intestinal issues. I was meditating in a. There's a lot of people on the internet that they use the biodecodification. I read that.
Biodecodification.
Remember, I
Yeah.
told you about googling and it was telling you about your headaches. What was the cause? So the biodecodification of my problem was that I was thinking I was unhappy with my work, with my job. So when I realized that I needed to let go on being uneasy with my job, my digestive issues disappeared.
Because
And
you owned your own tattoo shop.
before, yes, and
And
then
it was stressful. You made a lot
mhm.
more money, but it was stressful.
Mhm.
So then you just decided to
to
work
to work for
somewhere.
someone, but I wasn't happy.
Okay.
It was kind of like the transition. It was uneasy. I
Okay.
mean, I know all these things, but at some point, I'm like new. At some point, I get confused because I live also in this distortion, and
Of
I'm
course.
attacked by these things all the time. So it's like I was telling you, it's like a muscle. You have to. It's really subtle. Sometimes you're in it and you don't even know. You know, you have to meditate,
Holy shit.
close yourself of all distractions when you close your eyes, and that's when you realize things.
So then what did you
That's
realize? How did you cure your IBS?
yeah. I realized that I was worrying about being in a job that I don't like to be. But I was the one that was creating that environment. It was my own doing. It was my own brain, my own beliefs that make me believe that you don't want to be here because you're better than this. You could be making more money than this, and these guys don't deserve you. And pretty much, I was putting me like in a pedestal.
But not for no reason, because you owned your own shop. You saw you
Yeah,
could
but
do it.
you see what
But it
I'm
was more
saying.
stressful.
It was being attacked by the distortion because the distortion generates a lot of ego.
Oh, so the ego was getting in
The
your
ego,
way.
it was getting in my way.
Yeah. I
And
tried
then
to
my
talk about
stomach,
that.
it's kind of like saying, I don't digest this. I don't like this.
Oh,
It's
that
like when
makes
you eat
sense.
something, you're like, I don't like this.
Can't accept it.
You have to accept the things that you have
That's crazy.
in order to digest them. And that's how we are connected with our physical body. Our physical body feels pains, but we don't know how to interpret them. One time I heard from a guy saying, be thankful every time you have pain because that's the answer to your illness. And I was like, that is crazy. I don't know how it works.
That makes sense.
If I feel pain, that doesn't mean I'm. But I didn't understood at the time what he was talking about. But now I know that every time you feel a certain pain in certain areas, because I don't have the knowledge, I go to Google and I type biodecodification of stomach pain, and it will tell you what emotion is related to the stomach pain. And in my case, it was something that I didn't like in my life. So I meditate, I close my eyes, and I was like revising my life. And it's really easy once you close your eyes for a little bit and focus on your breathing, you start noticing all the things going on around you. That's when I noticed, I was like, I'm not happy at my job. So you know what? Thanks, universe, for giving me the job I have, and thanks for giving me all my friends, my family, and money every day. I accept my life the way it is, and I love it. I'm just gonna love it from now on. 2-3 days later, I was like new. And I'm so happy now because my year and a half of freaking diarrheas disappeared. And I was the only, it was my way of thinking that was causing this. Like your migraines.
Holy shit.
They were causing your migraines, your worries about things that you needed to do.
Yeah, for me, I was worried because I was drinking too much coffee. So I quit coffee out of nowhere, but it was exactly what you said.
But you were thinking that the coffee, like the lack of coffee, was causing the headache.
Yeah.
You were programming yourself to believe that.
Exactly. And then the thing is, I cut the headaches out just by meditating and just being like, I'm not controlled by sugar, caffeine, a substance.
Yeah.
I'm just myself.
I'm just
And then
myself.
I had a nutritionist, dietitian on the podcast. She works for Wellstar. She's responsible for, she feeds people in a coma via like a tube
Yeah.
directly into the gut. That's what she does. And she was just telling me like, no, you can have a cup of coffee, don't go crazy, but yeah, 1 cup a day, you're fine. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing's wrong with that. And that was after I already had taken care of the headaches just through the meditation. And then now I'm drinking coffee, and sometimes I'm like, I don't even want one because I
Yeah.
was programming myself to think I needed one.
Yeah, no, you don't need that.
Yeah.
And it's everything is just programs. We're being programmed ever since we were born.
Yeah.
You need to go to school because if you go to school, you're gonna get a title that's gonna make you Mr. Doctor, Mr. Engineer, Mr.
Whatever.
shoe shine polisher or
Right.
something,
Right.
a title. But in reality, you can go and learn those things by yourself. I know how to fix cars. I never went to school. I was reading books,
I saw the
watching
classic.
videos.
That was nice.
Yeah, I know a lot of stuff, and I play guitar. I never went to school. I learned by myself. I wanted to learn how to sing. I saw a book with audio instructions, and it was a book that was written by the guy that vocal coach Christina Aguilera and many singers. And now I sing. I learned techniques out of people that know how they do those things, and they do books, they do videos and stuff like that. So right now it's a good moment to be creative, because everything that you want to learn, it's right there
That's how I
on
learned how to
YouTube.
do any of this.
Yeah. So we can do a lot of stuff, man. I learned how to tattoo by myself, and
Good ass tattoo.
everything that I learned. I mean, I'm pretty much. If I want to learn something, I'm like, I just tell myself that I can do it. If somebody does it already, you can do it too, because we're humans. We have the same set of fingers, hands, legs, and the same kind of brain. So what this other human has a special talent
We're
that
all
you
the
that you
same.
can have. We have all the same capacities,
That's crazy.
and it's just that the training that you're like, change the tire of your car. Oh no, I'm going to the mechanic because I cannot do that. I'm not trained by that. But if you kind of like go and watch somebody do it, you can do it too.
You're right.
Yeah.
So people just want to pay for the convenience.
Not paying, but it's more like the example of the programs. Everything is a mind block.
So they believe they can
They
do
believe they can do it. Like I was telling you earlier, if you believe that your family is destined to be poor because you come from a poor family background, and you keep repeating yourself throughout your whole life that you come from a poor background, that's your background story, and that's your programming into your mind, and you're just like in the frequency of being poor,
it. Holy
and
shit.
you're gonna keep yourself being poor forever. It's like another example, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He came from a poor family, and where he is now, because he keep repeating himself that he came from a poor family.
Did you hear him talk about how they used to hypnotize him? He said he was being hypnotized
By
by
who?
his coaches.
Yeah.
They were telling him like, "This is the mission. Like you don't exist. Like you're here for this to do
Yeah,
this
yeah,
stuff like that."
yeah.
And he was like,
Okay.
"And look at him. Look at him."
Yeah, I remember I see him one of his videos, and he shares his pre-fight ritual, and he's like, I'm in the backstage, like like warming up, like thinking about my opponent, and thinking that he's just another human that I'm gonna punch his ass into the floor, and that I am the mightiest of all the people in here. And it was like I just keep imagining myself standing and the other guy on the floor, like if I already won the fight. I'm that. That's who I am. I'll be there in 10 minutes.
And he
I'm
kicked
that.
everyone's ass.
And he comes out of the thing. This I was with a lot of fear, but I don't have to serve my fear, because I know I already win. He already set that image of him winning in his mind, and that's how it works. You imagine your wallet full. It's empty right now, but you imagine it like that every day, and it's gonna stay like that forever.
That's what I need to hear, man, because I've been
And
imagining shit.
mine stays like that forever, because I've been practicing it for 3 years. I've been feeding myself with that idea, and imagine how does it feel to have all the abundance, not only money, but good friends, good
Health.
people, health, and family and love.
And you've been getting it.
And you imagine those things, and it's a feeling that it's like a imagine yourself like you're in a play, and in the play, in this place, and this play is you're playing a millionaire, a guy with a lot of love, a guy with a lot of luck. And imagine yourself how does it feel to be like that, and wear yourself with the feeling and with the emotion, and then you're going to release that vibration and energy to the world, to the universe, and the universe is going to put the right people around you, the people that vibrate in the same thing and the same frequency. So I am in that kind of thing.
So let me ask you a question. To leave somebody who's been watching this, right?
Hmm.
What is something that you want to leave them with? What would you say? Obviously that they just heard everything that we've been saying, and they have a lot to go dive into, a lot of names, a lot of topics, a lot of good, information. But just from a general note, someone who's listening to this and they're not happy. They're not happy with their life, not because they're choosing not to be, but
Hmm.
because they've been given a shitty hand, a bad draw of the cards, bad luck, whatever it
Yeah,
is. What would you say that they can start doing today to change their perspective?
that's what is really easy. Actually, it's just that you have to let yourself absorb into love, pretty much love, and every single day of your life, be grateful for what you have. Not don't think about I'm poor. Don't think about those things. Don't even think about that kind of stuff. Don't even. I mean, it's gonna sound kind of ugly, but don't hang out with poor people. It's not like you're racist or anything like that. It's just that they have this kind of frequency, and if you want to keep this kind of frequency around you, you're gonna become that kind of frequency. But if people like out there want to change their perspective, they just have to see the world for what it is. Like, I'm being educated with the right, they have to ask themselves these questions. I am being educated with the right education. I am being treated well. I am being loved. And what would you like to do to change that? How would you like to feel? That's what you need to feel. How, ask yourself this in the morning. What I want from this day? What is the thing that I want to do this day? What is the feeling that I want to feel this day? And write it down if possible. Like, I want to feel love, but don't write it. I want to feel, because when you would say I want to feel, it's like you're saying
Hopefully.
hopefully in the future I will feel. No, you have to say everything. Every time that you want something, you have to imagine it like it's already yours, like it's already happened.
I will feel good.
No, I'm already good.
I'm already good.
I'm good.
I'm already
I'm
rich.
happy.
I'm already happy.
I have everything I want. I have the relationship I want. Imagine yourself living in a big house with nice things, with a lot of health, with a dream job, and repeat to yourself, why do I have all this abundance?
Damn.
And start imagining those things. Why do I have all this money? Instead of always complaining, why I'm always broke? Why I'm always sick? Why I'm always with the ugliest one or with the ugliest guy? you know, I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful husband. I have this crazy bank account. And the thing is, you have to feel like you already have those things in order to your body will release that frequency
To attract
into
them.
the universe. And the universe is going to send the same frequencies back to you. Don't even think about doing anything bad, because when you think something bad, you're changing the frequency of your body, because 70% of your body is water. Every single tissue, muscle, blood, everything is made out of water. So when you think something bad, you're creating a negative frequency that affects the physical composition of water. So if the water gets messed up, imagine your bodies.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know if I told you about the guy that he does the experiment with water. He grabs it's a Japanese guy. You can probably go to Google and type Japanese scientist with water experiment or love hate water experiment. He grabs 2 cups with water, and one of them he places a sticker that says love, and the other one is hate. And he grabs the one that says love, and he places that in the entrance of the college, in the lobby. And the one that says hate, he puts that in the exit. So every day, the hundreds of kids that they go to college, that's the first thing that they see: the bottle that says love with water.
It says love on it.
It says dot. It says love. It has a sticker that says love.
Okay.
And the jar with water. And at the end of the day, when they leave the school, that's the last thing they see. The cup with water that says hate. So when you see things like that, you imagine things, you know. So 5 days like that, and he goes and he retrieves the cups with water, freezes them, and puts them under the microscope. When he looks at the water with the love sticker, it looks like snowflakes, perfect, really beautiful snowflakes. And when he looks the hate, it looks like somebody grabbed a paper sheet and with the pen scratched the paper sheet. It looks like
Just
scratch.
scribbles.
Yeah, the hate looks like that in the water.
And we're 70% water.
Imagine all the thoughts of the people that you've done wrong, what they think about you. You are the water. And if you go out there doing bad things, people are sending that energy of hate to you. And they are changing the physical composition of every single thing inside of your
Jesus,
body.
that's deep.
And if you're thinking bad things or negative things, you're affecting yourself. And that's why people get sick. That's why people get anxious and depressed and their head hurts and their stomachs and everything. Because we are creating these kind of things because our thoughts are powerful. And that's the scientific explanation to that, the water experiment. So if we can change the composition of water by thoughts, we have this power. Everything that we think, it creates something.
Jeez, man. Believe it or not, we've been going for an hour and 40.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, man. I just want to go ahead and thank you just for just everything, just opening us up to the idea of certain things. There's a lot of stuff that, like, I can just tell you've done hundreds of hours of research, you know?
Yeah.
And in an hour and 40 minutes, someone can listen to that and just have almost like a guide to go do their own research. And that's
Yeah.
it's just
It,
beautiful.
it's nice, man, and I like it because I know that if I touch one person with this information, it's worth it. But when people hear this kind of stuff, it resonates in their minds because we already knew these things. It's just that every time that we reincarnate, we don't remember because of the distortion. But everything that we went through in previous lifetimes, it's already imprinted into your soul. You know, like I was telling you one time, I guess I told you this. What would you do if I give you a gun and I ask you to kill someone? You you feel all these feelings. Where those feelings came from a previous experience and a previous life that you had. You probably in a previous lifetime you killed someone and your soul was imprinted with this knowledge. So now you know how to feel and all the emotional consequences that comes on killing someone. You already have those feelings inside of you. So that's how conscious is formed by us experiencing those things. That's how evolved we are. And we're evolving every time, every time, every time. That's why we're here in this uh, place, surrounded by people vibrational alike, because we love peace and we already came from the dirt. We already came from the dark, and now we're clearing it out ourselves. We have this crazy conscience that we acquire in the previous lives, and it's the one that is with us right now.
Jesus.
You know,
Holy
that's
shit.
that's the way it is. And for everybody out there, just think all the beautiful things that we have, all the air that we breathe, all the people that is around us. Even if you don't have an arm or a leg or whatever, every single second of the life is valuable because all of that are experiences that we have to see them as life learning experiences rather than just wasting our time in the planet. You know, let's go out there and just do good to everybody.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you just, before we go, if you want to just, I know you have your own YouTube channel where you restore bikes and you kind of talk about this stuff. Do you want to go ahead and shout the YouTube channel out if anyone wants to go check it out?
Oh yeah. I'm just starting with this, so it's mainly in Spanish, but I'm thinking of doing some English because there's a lot of people that speak English. Well, you guys can put the translation thing and translate it. But yeah, I talk about this kind of stuff because I like to restore bicycles, and I talk about this kind of stuff too. And if you wanna ask me something or whatever, my YouTube channel is El Chido de Mexico.
El Chilo de Mexico?
El Chido.
El Chido with a D.
Yep.
El Chido de Mexico.
De Mexico.
Okay.
El Chido means awesome.
Okay.
It's like a slang from Mexico City.
That's
when they
awesome.
said Chido.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell
You can,
yeah.
you can use it in a different ways. If you can say goodbye to someone, it'll be like Chido.
Oh, I
Like
see.
if it was nice.
Okay.
You know?
So it's like a
Yeah. And when you find something that is really nice, you can say, that's Chido.
hell yeah. Well, hey man, I want to thank you so much
Cool,
for
man.
doing this.
Awesome. Yeah.
Really means a lot.
We
and
had a
you know
good
what?
time.
We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll have to do a part 2 sometime.
Oh, yeah. Part 3, 4, and 5.
Right. But yeah, man, thank you so much.
Yeah.